A warm welcome to all of you in the class of matrix. Today's topic is elementary row operations and it is going to be extended up to echelon form. Before going into the discussion of elementary operations, we are having some basic prerequisites on matrix. So the prerequisites are matrix, and we all know what is this. It is nothing but a beautiful arrangement of numbers in crude sense, but if we have to define it in a proper way, then it is nothing but a mapping. Already it is elaborately discussed in the previous classes, so we need that idea for elementary operations. Then we need scalar multiplication. That means if we want to multiply one matrix with a scalar quantity, then what is the case we have to show. So if we multiply, suppose a matrix A with a scalar quantity, suppose 5, then what is the meaning of 5A? It is required here, and it is nothing but the multiplication of all the elements in that matrix by 5. Now scalar multiplication in a row, it is not the multiplication of the matrix by a scalar quantity, rather it is the multiplication of a particular row, that means the element of a particular row by a scalar quantity. So all the elements of that matrix is not going to be multiplied, only that specified row and the elements of that specified row will be multiplied. In the next case, equality and equivalence of matrix. These two are very important concept. Throughout the discussion of matrix, equality means two matrices are going to be equal. That means all the corresponding positions, all the elements in the corresponding position will be equal. And in the context of equivalence, when two matrices are going to be called, they are equivalent, and what are the basis, what are the required criteria or properties for being equivalent. So these are the prerequisites for this discussion. So we are now going to discuss what is elementary row operations. First point is, if we take a matrix and this interchange of two rows, this is allowed in elementary row operations. What is the meaning of this? If this is our matrix A, if this is our matrix A, and if we take this one as our row 1, and if this we take as our row 3, look at this, we are interchanging row 1 and row 3, and obviously row 2 will remain same. So what we get, row 2, 2, 1, 2, 3. Look at this, in the changed matrix, in the second row 2, 1, 2, 3 remains same, but this 1, 2, 3, 4 came into the third row, and 5, 5, 1, 0 came into 5, 5, 1, 0 as the first row. So if this is my new matrix, suppose A dash, this A dash is achieved from A by this operation of two rows. This operation is interchange of two rows, which is one elementary row operation. Next one is multiplication of a row by a non-zero number. I think you can recall just before 2 to 3 minutes, this is discussed, that multiplication of a row. So we are taking the matrix A and we are taking the second row 2, 1, 2, 3. We are multiplying this row by 3. So look at this, first row was 1, 2, 3, 4, it is 1, 2, 3, 4. Last row was 5, 5, 1, 0, it is 5, 5, 1, 0. But look at this, the second row was 2, 1, 2, 3. all corresponding positions are multiplied by 3. So this became 6, then 3 into 1 3, then 3 into 2 6, then 3 into 3 9. So this row is changed in A dash by this elementary row operation. I want to emphasize one point over here. It is not that multiplication of a row by a number. It is multiplication of a row by a non-zero number. Why it is restricted with this condition? Look at this. If you are multiplying this row by a non-zero number, then it is something like that. But if you are allowed to multiply it by 0, then for first operation you can multiply it by 0 and you will get that this matrix will be converted into 1 2 3 4 0 0 0 0, then 5 5 1 0. Next, you are again going to operate this one elementary row operation, that multiplication by a row by any number. That means you are taking 0 and you are multiplying the first row by 0. Then you are going to get it as 0 0 0 0, then 0 0 0 0, and then you are allowing the third row multiplication by zeros also. Then it will be also 0 0 0 0. So if you are allowing multiplication by 0, then every matrix of m cross n order will be converted to a matrix where all the elements are 0 of same order. So what you get, all the matrices of m cross n order, all the matrices of m cross n order are equivalent. It is not true. That is why multiplication of a row by 0 is not allowed in elementary row operations. Now the next operation, third one, it is addition of a multiple of one row to another row. What does it mean? It means first one is actually Ri goes to Rj and Rj goes to Ri, that is interchange. Second one is Ri goes to K Ri, where K is not equal to 0. But here what we are getting, Ri goes to Ri plus Prj. It means you are taking the row Rj, then you are multiplying this row by P, where P is a scalar quantity. Then you are adding this whole thing with Ri and you are replacing the old Ri by this number, obviously element wise. This is also allowed. So look at this. In this example, what we have done, we have multiplied the first row. So if we multiply the first row by 2, then the first row elements will be 2, then 4, then 6, then 8. Then we are adding it by the third row and we are getting that 2 into 1, that is 2, plus 5, so it is 7. Now 2 into 2, that is 4, 4 plus 5, it is 9. Then 2 into 3, that is 6, 6 plus 1, that is 7. And 2 into 4, that is 8, 8 plus 0, that is 8. So how we get this particular thing? We get it as R3 goes to R3 plus 2R1. It falls into this category. Now I want to emphasize on another part before going to the next slide. That is, please look at this. If you take the value of P equal to 0 in the third elementary operation, it gives Ri goes to Ri. That means there is no change in the matrix. If you take the third operation as ARI plus BRJ, it will be more general, because if you take the value of A equal to 0 and B is equal to 1, that means you are talking about that you are replacing this thing. But one thing has to be important, that if you are following this part, then interchange of these two matrices you also have to establish in your own way. Whatever, for your elementary row operations, please keep these three informations in your mind, because we are going to use elementary row operations in the subsequent cases. First one is interchange between two rows, second one multiplication of a row by a non-zero number, and third one is the addition of a multiple of one row to another row. So let us have a little practice on that. We are going to perform the indicated elementary row operations in the stated order. So let us take our matrix 7, 13, 5, 1, 2, 3. First one is required R1 goes to R2 and R2 goes to R1. So this 1, 2, 3 will be going to 1, 2, 3. That means this row will be coming here and this row will be going here. So 1, 2, 3, 7, 13, 5. Next, in the consequent manner, it is asked that minus 7 R1 plus R2 is going to be R2, or we can say that R2 is going to be R2 minus 7 R1. So one thing is very important, that if you are applying this on this matrix, you are going to get the wrong thing, because first of all, from this matrix using this operation you get this one. Then you have to apply this one on this matrix and you have to get this one. So R2 goes to R2 plus R2 minus 7 R1. The question is there any change in R1? No. Then R1 will remain same, so it will be our 1, it will be 2 and it will be 3. Now R2 goes to R2 minus 7 R1. So R2 was 7 for the first position I am talking about, then minus 7 into 1. So what we get? 0. So what will be here? 0. Next one, R2 was 13, then minus 7 R1. 7 into R1 in this position is 2. So 14. So it will be minus 1. So it will be minus 1. Next, R2 was 5, then minus 7 R1. 7 R1 is 3. So it is 21. So 5 minus 21 will be minus 16. So it will be minus 16. Now, this is minus R2. What does it mean? It means R2 goes to minus R2. It means R2 is multiplied by a non-zero scalar quantity which is minus 1. So now from this I have to get this one. So as there is no change in R1, it will be our 1, 2, 3. And if I multiply it by minus sign, then it will be 0, it will be 1 and it will be simply 16. So this is the practice session of elementary row operations. Now we proceed further. We just have to sum it up that row operations are interchange, what we have already discussed, then multiplication by a non-zero scalar quantity, and then this one Ri goes to Ri plus Prj, or any term or any notation you can use. Now if the same concept is applied on column, then it is called elementary column operations. So it is simply just the same application on columns. So if you interchange two columns, then it is allowed. If you multiply a column by a non-zero scalar quantity, it is allowed. And if you just add s times of column I to column j, it is also allowed. So you have a matrix A, you have applied elementary row operation, suppose R1, you got A1. Then you have applied elementary row operation R2, you got A2. In this way you applied something and then you get finally AN. What is the relationship between them? They are row equivalent matrix. Clear? Similarly, you have a matrix A and you have applied column operation 1, you got A1, suppose A dash. Then you have applied column operation C2, you got A double dash. In this way you got suppose A5, 5 dash. So what is the relationship between them? A dash, A dash, A double dash, A double dash, all are column equivalent matrix. So this is the concept of equivalent matrix. Now a very important concept is going to be discussed and it will be required throughout the session up to the last class. A matrix A is said to be in echelon form if all zero rows follow all non-zero rows. What does it mean? Zero rows means what and non-zero rows means what? In a matrix, if you get all the elements in a row are zero, then it is called zero row. I am repeating it again. If in a matrix in a particular row, if you get all the entries are zero, it is called zero row. So what is non-zero row? Which is not a zero row, it is non-zero row. So in the positive sense, if we say non-zero row means in a matrix if you get a row where at least one element is not equal to 0, at least one element is not equal to 0. It can be 1, it can be 2, it can be 3, anything. What are the other elements? I am not bothered. If I get at least one element is not equal to 0, then it is a non-zero row. So if you get a row where 1, 1, 1, 1 are present, it is non-zero row. If you get a row where 0, 0, 0, 1 is present, it is also non-zero row. Clear? So this is our first criteria, that all zero rows follow all non-zero rows. Means in a matrix, if you get a zero row, then that zero row must be under all non-zero rows. Always non-zero rows will come before the zero rows if exists. So look at this. If we take one matrix like this, 1 0 0 0 1 0 0 0 1, there is no zero row. So there is no question of having all zero rows follow all non-zero rows. But if you have a matrix like this, 0 0 1 0, it is our non-zero row, it is our zero row. So if this structure is present, it will not be allowed in echelon form. But the most important property in echelon form is coming now. It is very important, the number of zeros preceding the first non-zero element of a row increases as we move row to row downwards. We are reading it in this direction, but we are going to follow it in the reverse direction. So we have to go in this direction. We are moving downwards. Clear? So we have taken one matrix. We are moving downwards. Very good. How? Row by row. So look at this. I am going downwards in row by row. Then the number of zeros preceding the first non-zero element. What does it mean? So if you have a row 0 0 1 0 1, how many zeros are there? 3. Are we going to emphasize on this Answer is no. Our job is to identify the first non-zero element of a row. So who is first non-zero element in this row? This one. So our job is to identify this one first. Then we have to identify the number of zeros preceding the first non-zero element. So this 0 is not preceding the first non-zero element. So we are not bothered about this 0. We are emphasizing on these two zeros because they are preceding the first non-zero element. So how many zeros are there preceding the first non-zero element in this row? The answer is 2. So look at this. If we take 0, 1, 0, 1, number of zeros preceding the first non-zero element is 1. If we take 0, 0, 0, number of zeros 3, but number of zeros preceding the first non-zero element is not valid here because there is no non-zero element in this row. It is a 0 row. So look at this, what the second property we are following. It is true for non-zero rows. If 0 row is there, it will come in the lower part of non-zero rows, and if there are non-zero rows, we have to first identify the first non-zero element in that row. Then we have to count how many zeros are there in front of that. So in this way, after calculating the number of zeros preceding the first non-zero element, when we are moving downwards, we have to check that the number of zeros preceding the first non-zero element of a row increases or not. So this is very important line. There are 3 or 4 lines basically in a single line. We have not only to check this one, we have to check whether now we are going downwards, it is increasing or not. Means if you are just checking the number of zeros of this type, then if it is 0, then it is 2, then it is 3, then it is 4, you are in correct way. But if you are checking that you are getting it, it is 0, then it is 1, then number of zeros are 0, it is decreasing, not allowed. Now if you are thinking it is 0, then it is 1, then it is 1, then it is 2, 0 to 1 increased, 1 to 2 increased, but 1 to 1 same. We need increment, so it is not also allowed. Only the thing is allowed that when we move downwards, it has to increase. The number of zeros preceding the first non-zero element has to increase. So let us check some examples of echelon form. First non-zero element 1. How many zeros in front of this? 0. First non-zero element in the second row is 1. How many zeros are there? 1. First non-zero element in the third row, this. How many zeros are there? 2. As we move downwards, is it increasing? Yes. That means it is in echelon form. As there is no zero row, there is no question to check whether zero row follows all non-zero rows or not. Next example. Look at this. How many non-zero rows are there? Here we have 3 non-zero rows. How many zero rows are there? 1. 0 row are following the non-zero rows. So the first condition is satisfied. Next, what is the first non-zero element in the first row here? It is 2. How many zeros are there in front of it? No zeros. That means 0 zeros. Now this is 2. And how many zeros are there? 1. Now this is 4. How many zeros are there? It is 3. So as we go downwards, we are getting the number of zeros increasing. So both the matrices are in echelon form. Clear? Now let us have a practice how to convert the given matrix into its echelon form. It is the application of elementary row operations. We are now going to use elementary row operations to convert this given matrix into its echelon form. Why I am using convert? Before that I have to check. So there is no zero rows, it is okay, but we are getting that this is our first non-zero element. In the first row there is 1 0. This is the second first non-zero element. In the second row there are 2 zeros. It is increased, but what is this? First entry is 1, so how many zeros are there before it? No zero. So when you are moving downwards, what we are getting? The number of zeros are not increasing in uniform manner. That means it is not in echelon form. So what we have to do, please follow this very cautiously. So this row or this row should be there in the first row, so that we can start it with the number of zeros preceding the first non-zero element is 0. Then we will check for increment. So what we are doing, we are making R13. R13 means I am converting row 1 to row 3 and row 3 to row 1. So third row was 1001, so it will be 1, then 0, then 0, then 1. There is no change in the second row, at least at this moment. So 0, 0, 1, then minus 1. Then third row is going to first row, then first row is coming to the third row, so it will be 0, 1, 2 and 3, and there is no change in the fourth row, so 1, 0, 1, 0. Now is it in echelon form? First row first non-zero element is 1. How many zeros are there? 0. Then 2, but then 1. So here the definition is violated. So we have to think for some more elementary row operation to convert it into its echelon form, keeping both the things in our mind, that what are the things allowed in elementary row operation as well as what is the definition of echelon form. Now what elementary row operation we can use? Look at this. If I take this second row into the third row and third row into the second row, the number of zeros what we are getting here 2 and 1 in the reverse order, the order will be in the required format. So what we are doing, we are making it R23. That means row 2 is going to third position and row 3 is coming to first position. So there is no change in the first row, so it will be 1, 0, 0, 1. Third row is coming to the second row, so it will be 0, 1, 2, 3. Then second row is going to the third position, so it will be 0, 0, 1 and minus 1. And there is no change in the fourth row, so 1, 0, 1, 0. After getting this, if we are trying to verify whether we have achieved our target or not, what we see, number of zeros in the first row preceding the non-zero element is 1. Then as we are moving downwards, it is 1. So there is increment. Then there is 2 zeros before the first non-zero element, but there is again 0. So here to here it is increased, here to here it is increased, but here to here it is not. So it is not still in echelon form. We have to think for some more elementary row operations. So what we can do before that, we have to think that what we need actually. We need basically 0 here first. How we can reach to 2 to some incremented position at least 3? We can make the number of zeros which is actually 0, we have to make it first 1, then we have to make it first 2, then only we can make it 3. How many zeros are there preceding the first non-zero element? Zeros. No 0. So I have to make it first 0, then I have to think it for this one 0, then I have to think it for this one 0, and obviously by elementary row operation. One thing for your purpose, it is a very important clue. When you get some rows are already following the required condition of elementary row echelon form using elementary row operation, you please don't think to change that row. Clear? So you please don't think to change the row 1, row 2, row 3. Rather, you try to use row 1, row 2, row 3 to convert the row 4 according to your requirement. And the second clue is that if you want to change the first position, try to use the first row. If you want to change the second position, try to use the second row in this manner. So let us start this particular process. Look at this. We are now using R4 is going to be R4. Then I think you can identify that it is 1, it is 1. So if I subtract this, then it will be 0. But before going into the result of this particular matrix, you have to confident that R4 minus R1, this R4 minus R1, is it allowed in elementary row operation or not? You can't use anything which is not allowed in elementary row operation. Look at this. R4 can be written, this operation can be written as R4 plus minus 1 into R1, which is nothing but multiplication of a row by a scalar quantity, then addition of it with a row. It is allowed in elementary row operation. That is why I am doing it. You can make this one 0 by various ways, but only those ways will be considered which is coming under the elementary row operation. Otherwise, the conversion is not going to give you the equivalent matrix, and there is no question of getting the echelon form. So let us check the result of this one. 1 0 0 1 0 1 2 3 0 0 1 minus 1, they will remain same. Only this 1 0 1 0, this will be changed. So R4 minus R1, so 1 minus 1, it will be 0. Then 0 minus 0, so it will be again 0. Then 1 minus 0, so it will be 1. And then 0 minus 1, so it will be minus 1. Is it in echelon form? Look at this, what I have stated just before some time. The number of zeros is 0. Here the required number of those zeros is 1. Here it is 2. It was 0, now it became 2. But what I need to make it 3. So it is not still in echelon form. So if I want to make it in echelon form, I have to make another elementary row operation, and you have to identify that one. Look at this. I have just stated that if you want to make some change in this position, you should think for using the element in this position if it is already following the required conditions. Because look at this one can be converted to 0 by this 2. How? 1 minus half, 1 goes to 1 minus half into 2. But if you do this, it will be 0. But you have to do the same thing for this position. Then 0 minus half into 1, that is half. So it will be minus half. You are making it 0, it will be becoming minus half. All the required conditions for making it echelon form will be gone. So you need to use this concept what I have given you as a clue. So it will be 1 0 0 1 0 1 2 3 0 0 1 minus 1. What the operation now you are going to use? You have to choose that. Look at this. If your R4 goes to R4 minus R3, then this one will be subtracted, it will be 0. I know that you have already observed that these two rows are same, so if you subtract this, it will be totally 0. It will be 0, but there is no need to think on that. It is coming automatically as 0, that is why it is 0, but it is not our requirement. So after applying this thing, what we are getting, that it is 0 0 0 0. Now again you have to check whether it is satisfying the condition of echelon form or not. Look at this, what you get. you get here two parts in this matrix. One is here it is 0 row and others are non-zero rows. It is your 0 row and others are non-zero rows. The requirement of echelon form is that if there is any 0 row, it will come after all non-zero rows, so it is satisfied. And the number of zeros preceding the first non-zero element, here it is 0, first non-zero element here it is 1, first non-zero element here it is 2. So what you get, as you go downwards, the number of zeros preceding the first non-zero element in a row is increasing. You are going downwards, but your numbers are actually increasing and you are following the whole condition of echelon form for this given matrix. So I think it is clear. So this is your assignment for this class. You have to find out the echelon form of this matrix and this matrix in your home by applying elementary row operations. I think the things are clear, and this is the references what I have used. So please do practice the problems of echelon form by converting it into elementary row operations through elementary row operations. It will be required throughout the class. All the problems what we are going to state and discuss in the next classes consequently. So thank you all. Happy listening, happy learning.